Audrey Simmons closed the door to her locker and turned to her friend Lily. "So, what are you going to do this weekend?" "I'm going to the skating rink with Joey," she replied. "Oh, I thought we were going to hang out together." "You could always come with us if you don't have any plans." Audrey quickly dismissed the offer. "No, no, it's okay. You can go without me." "Audrey, are you sure? I mean, it really won't be that big of a deal." "No, no, it's fine, really. I don't really know Joey very well, and I don't want to get in the way of you two." "Well, if you say so." Suddenly, the school bell rang, and crowds of kids began to stuff the hallways. Audrey and Lily quickly headed to their respective classes. Audrey stared out the window, not paying attention to her teacher. It was Friday, and naturally she was just waiting for the day to end. But something was bothering her. She couldn't stop thinking about Lily. She pictured her with her friend Joey laughing and having fun. She tried to picture herself with them, but it just didn't feel right. All she wanted to do was spend time with her friend, but she didn't know Joey, and she didn't want to. Every time she would go to a party or hang out with a group, she would just sit in the back and say nothing. It took her a long time to open up to Lily. Audrey didn't have the stomach to go through that again. But at the same time, she knew neglecting Lily might drive them apart, so she had to choose. Risk having to wear a fake mask and avoid showing any real emotion, or possibly lose her best friend. So many things were racing through her head so fast she forgot she was in class. That's when the teacher called on her. "Audrey, do you care to answer the problem?" Yeah." She looked up at the board and saw nothing but scribbles. "It's, 7. The teacher frowned with disappointment. "Audrey, this is ELA." 3 girls at the back of the class giggled at her. Audrey felt her insides melt. Her skin burned with embarrassment. Deep down, she felt a rage. She desired to hurt those who mocked her, but then she remembered something. A smile. A smile worn by a noble man. A man who had saved countless lives. That man was Audrey's father. Soon enough, the final bell rang. All the students fled their classes, eager to make it home. All but one. For unlike everyone else, Audrey would be alone this weekend. Audrey slammed the door to her house shut. Her mother called out, "Hi, sweetie. How was your day?" Audrey replied, "It was fine, Mom. Nothing happened." "I bet you have some big weekend plans with that friend Lily of yours, don't you?" "Well, actually, we're going to the skating rink. With Joey." "I love how you're making new friends, Audrey. It makes me proud of you." "Yeah, me too," she muttered in shame. "Hey, can I borrow some of your money? For snacks and stuff?" "Of course, sweetie, but remember to be back by 11. "Yeah, Mom, I know." Audrey left in a hurry. She briskly walked down the street while nervously looking around. She stopped by a customary gas station. She breathed in and began to walk forward. A bell rang as she opened the door. She stared at a soda bottle. "I did say I was gonna buy snacks," she thought to herself. She quickly swiped the bottle and stepped in line. As she did, the bell rang once again. A man walked in. He wore a long black trench coat and a black fedora, and his eyes were grayer than the moon. Audrey began to feel sweat building on her body. It took all her will not to look at the strange man. Out of nowhere, the cashier called out, "Next!" She was suddenly broken out of her trance. Then she stepped forward and placed the bottle on the counter. The cashier scanned it, but the machine began malfunctioning. While he fiddled with the broken device, Audrey stared at a red bottle. She never liked the color red. It reminded her of fire, a powerful, destructive force. The same force that took her father all those years ago. The bottle seemed to capture her attention, but not for long. She noticed something in the corner of her eye. It looked slimy and loose, moving without restriction. It seemed to be a greenish yellow and covered in sticky suction cups. Audrey was paralyzed. She felt her heart pounding in her chest. She began to turn towards it, slowly. Then she saw that the appendage was attached to something bigger, something behind a row of chip bags. It slowly began rising up, revealing a hideous body covered in eyes and mouths. Audrey felt like she could faint. The man behind her stepped forward and fearlessly said, "You see it too." Audrey whipped around to look at him. She wanted to speak but didn't know what to say. She hid behind the man as the creature began moving towards them. The man declared, "I will send you back to the hell you crawled out of." He made a fist and slammed it into one of the monster's many eyes. It squealed as orange blood shot out from its socket. The man punched the creature again, pushing it back. He lifted his hand up as wind began swirling around him. An orb of blue flames appeared in his palm. It started to thin and elongate. The fire vanished, and under it was a mighty sword with a silver blade and a leather handle. He grasped the sword and began slashing at the creature, severing several tentacles and spraying orange goo everywhere. The creature shrieked in pain. Then more tentacles began sprouting up from its wounds. It was too many for the man to hit with his sword. They wrapped around his arms and legs and began pulling him in all directions. Audrey took the opportunity to flee the building. Once she made it out the door, she saw that the streets were empty. Buildings looked broken down and decrepit, like no one had been there in centuries. Oh, God. Oh, no. She hastily looked around and found a path that led to the woods. There, I'll be safe there, she thought to herself. Audrey scurried across the street and arrived at the woods. She went further and further in till the town was nowhere in sight. She hid behind a tree and began weeping. The voice in her head spoke to her yet again. It said, "I'm alone. No, 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 this can't be happening. Please, no. Mom, Lily, I'm sorry." But then she heard another voice. It was new yet familiar, strong yet soothing. Audrey wiped away burning tears and looked up. It was the man in the coat from the gas station. He looked at her and said, "You'll probably have a lot of questions, but know this. You will not die today." Audrey asked in a shaky voice, "Who are you? What was that thing? Wait, you fought it. You can kill it, right?" The man frowned. "No, I can't. Only you have the power to vanquish the beast." "Me? Why me?" "Because that creature, it's not like anything you've ever seen before. It's a parasite from another dimension. It feeds off you and you only. If you want to kill it, you must show it you're not afraid." "Show it I'm not afraid, but I am afraid! How am I supposed to do that?" The creature came barreling through the forest, knocking down trees that were blocking its path. It lifted up a tentacle and tried to slam it on the ground. The man grabbed the tentacle and held the creature back. A sliver tore in the side of its body, and an extra tentacle popped out of it. The new tentacle slammed itself against the man, knocking him over. All of the monster's eyes focused on Audrey. She curled into a ball and shivered, waiting for the end. "No, it can't end like this." The creature's tentacles twisted and turned above her, getting ready to strike. She thought of her father and his smile. "No, it won't. I can't let it." She stood up and looked at the horror in front of her. The beast raised its body and ready to crush her. She stared into its bulging, veiny eye and quietly said, "I'm not afraid of you. It flung itself toward her and instantly exploded into a puff of smoke. But she didn't flinch. She didn't move at all. Audrey stepped back and processed what had happened. Did I... really? Then she remembered the man. She had to check if he was okay. Audrey rushed to where he was lying and checked his pulse. Nothing. The girl turned around and began sadly walking away. And out of nowhere, the man coughed. She turned around to see him slowly getting up. "You're alive!" she exclaimed. The man said, "I knew you could do it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have business to attend to." "Wait, I never got to thank you." "Oh, there's no need for that. Can I at least know your name?" "Name? I have no name. I appear when I am needed and vanish once I am not. With no desires or dreams of my own. All I have is a purpose." "Well, can I at least give you a name? Something to remember you by?" I suppose that wouldn't hurt. How about the Blind Phantom? I like it. "Where will you go now?" Audrey asked. The man smiled. "There are other people in the world. People with problems of their own." He turned around, stepped behind a tree, and disappeared. Audrey took a moment to consider if she had gone insane. But then, she remembered Lily was still at the skating rink. There was still time. "I gotta get over there before it gets too dark." As Audrey left the woods, she noticed the world had reverted back to normal. People walked the streets and buildings looked fresh and new. Audrey took a moment to realize how thankful she was for everything. After a long walk across town, she arrived at the skating rink. When she got in, it didn't take her long to find Lily and Joel. Lily was surprised when she saw Audrey again. She asked, "Audrey, I thought you wanted to stay home." "Well, I met someone and I think I've had a change of heart." And so, the three had a wonderful night. There was laughter and friendship. Once it all ended, Audrey said goodbye and headed home. By this point, she was beginning to think her encounter with the man and the monster was some sort of dream or hallucination. It had to be, right? Till she noticed a silhouette in the distance, or a long black trench coat and a black fedora. Audrey narrowed her eyes, wondering if it was who she thought. The man lifted up his hand and waved. The girl smiled and waved back.